All right, let's talk about the money that's quietly taking over the sports you love. We're going to dive into those big name sponsors that seem to have popped up out of nowhere. And trust me, there's quite a story behind them.
So, if you've watched any cricket at all recently, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're trying to enjoy the match, and these names are just everywhere. They are plastered on jerseys, on the graphics on the field, even that little logo bug in the corner of your screen. They've basically become part of the scenery.
And yeah, these are the names you're seeing: 1xBat, Dolphin News, Melbat, Paramatch News. They all kind of sound like a sports equipment company, or maybe a news site, right? But the thing is, they've just exploded onto the scene, sponsoring huge teams and entire leagues, seemingly overnight. And that, right there, is the billion-dollar question. Because behind these perfectly normal-sounding names is a totally different business, one that's operating in a very interesting legal gray area. So let's peel back the curtain and see what's really going on. Okay, so first things first, we need to understand the strategy these companies are using. It is a really clever tactic that lets them be front and center in a market where their main product is, it's heavily restricted. The secret sauce to this whole operation is something called surrogate advertising. The best way to think about it is like legal camouflage. Just like a soldier wears camo to blend into the forest, these companies create these proxy brands, a news site here, a sporting goods line there, to blend right into the legal landscape of pro sports. And here it is, the big reveal. The camouflage is often just a tiny little tweak of the real name. Dolphin News is just the public face for the betting platform DaFaBet. 1xBat is the stand-in for 1xBet. See the pattern? These aren't different companies. They're two sides of the same coin, designed to build that brand name without technically advertising the thing they're not supposed to. So, now that we get the how, let's talk about the how much. Because this strategy isn't just clever, it's backed by an absolutely mind-boggling amount of money that is completely changing the entire world of sports sponsorship. Just take a second to look at this number. In 2022 alone, these offshore betting firms spent an estimated 3,500 crore rupees just on advertising in India. That is a truly staggering figure, and it shows you just how serious this investment is. And it's not slowing down. In fact, it's speeding up. In just the last 2 years, that spending has jumped by another 30 to 40%. That kind of rapid growth shows you just how aggressive these brands are being to completely dominate the advertising space. And all that cash has led to a massive power shift. I mean, this chart says it all. Not that long ago, fantasy sports companies were the kings of cricket sponsorship. But now, the betting surrogates have pretty much pushed them right out, using their huge budgets to snap up all the most valuable ad space during live games. And you gotta understand, this isn't just some trend happening in one country or one league. No, this is a coordinated global playbook. These companies are running the same strategy all across the cricketing world. I mean, just look at this list. From the Big Bash in Australia to the leagues in Pakistan and Bangladesh, all the way to the SA20 in South Africa, where Betway is literally the title sponsor. Even the West Indies international team, these brands are absolutely everywhere. They've built a global empire in an incredibly short amount of time. So, what on earth changed to let this happen on such a massive scale? Well, this timeline tells the whole story. For about 18 years, since 2005, the International Cricket Council, the ICC, banned betting logos on player uniforms after some major scandals. But then, in May 2023, that ban was lifted for bilateral series. And that's when the floodgates just flew open. And here's the official line right from the ICC. They basically said that individual countries should get to decide for themselves. So the key thing to realize here is that this massive change isn't happening against the rules, it's happening because the rules themselves have been changed at the very highest level of the sport. Which brings us to this incredible game of cat and mouse. Because while the global rules have loosened up, national regulators are trying to push back, and it's creating this constant battle between governments and these super agile companies. So in India, for instance, the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting sent out these official warnings to try and stop these ads, especially on TV and in newspapers. And it worked, for a bit. Big TV networks had to cancel some massive deals, which just forced the betting companies to get even more creative. And this right here shows their pivot perfectly. When the hammer came down on traditional media, did they just pack up and go home? Nope. They just shifted gears. They moved to ads on billboards and on cabs. They doubled down on digital marketing with influencers. And they've gone even deeper. using channels like WhatsApp and Telegram to reach you directly. It's a total marketing metamorphosis, which really leaves us with this one big question. What we're watching is an economic juggernaut that's incredibly well-funded, super agile, and operating globally. As they keep adapting and finding new ways to get in front of fans, can the regulators, who are almost always a few steps behind, ever really keep up? That's something to chew on the next time you tune in to watch a match.